there's been a bit of talk about generators as of late, so I thought I might show you my setup and a nice easy way to go about it. So this is where the generator plugs into. As you can see down here, we've got labelled switches here, ergon supply, which is also solar, and then dedicated generator only. So I'll flick that down. Obviously when there's no solar, no mains power, and I'll be running off generator. So that just runs up through a little tiny hole down there, which is you need to have because the generator's on the other side of the wall there. Now, you may not be able to see too well down here, but she's filtered a little bit at the moment. But that's where my exhaust pipe for the generator is. I just like to keep things away from prying eyes, so to speak. I'm eventually replacing this with another generator, so this is just a temporary setup. Now, it does look restricted there, but yeah, no issues running with it at all. So we'll go for a walk inside, have a bit of a gander of the setup. So now we're on the other side of the wall here. As you can probably hear, it echoes a little bit in here, but that's perfectly fine. I don't mind. So this is where it's running back in. It's a 15 amp plug on either end there. Couldn't get a shorter one, didn't want to hack up a cable, so she'll be right. Now, you may be wondering why the pull start is down here for a little bit. So the issue is my partner can't actually pull start anything to save her life at the moment, which is a bit of a problem, but no dramas whatsoever, because let's kick some shit out of the way here. I've looked down here. So this is where the starter used to sit. So this is a cheap job from Trade Tools. It used to bolt on just there, pull start, away she goes sort of thing. So if we look down here, we'll see how mine's set up. So you'll have your choke sitting up here on the yellow cable, you've got your fuel tap there, and on the front here you've got your on-off switch there, and then your AC breaker. Now, because I'm not in a blackout or anything, I'm going to leave this off so I'm not putting power through that switchboard, even though it's a circuit breaker. Better safer than sorry, really. So what we're going to do is flick that one on there, come over here, put the choke on, fuel tap's already on. See, because I run this every month or so for a couple of minutes to make sure the fuel's right. It's actually got fuel stabilizer in there as well, because it is a petrol generator. As I said, I was looking at upgrade, so I was looking at a diesel later on, but now comes the question, why have you got a drill sitting on top of your generator there? It's always fully charged, mainly because this is why. So she can actually do this herself. So as you can see in there, there's a nice big nut sitting there. This sits on there. So I've just flicked the switch off there because well, I don't need it running at the moment. But as you saw, anyone who can't pull start something has the access to do this. So in case if I'm not home, the wife is, we have a blackout or anything happens really where we've got no power in the middle of the night because the solar's not generating any power, because battery backup's on the agenda but not quite there with the funds. I've got my old Ryobi drill with a half inch attachment, I should say, 19mm socket, because that's the size of the nut that's sitting on the end there. And then essentially flicker on. Choke's still in at the moment because I haven't been running it. Getting it situated on there. So it's actually very handy if you've got people that can't pull start things, or children or whatnot. It's not a bad idea just getting yourself a cheap drill. Now, I did buy a an Ozito drill at one stage, mainly because it was the cheapest thing with a decent amount of torque, but it did struggle a little bit, so I thought, why not update my Ryobi stuff to a brushless. So now I've got an old drill, dedicated battery there. That's actually always got to stay charged. This drill doesn't get used for anything else. It just sits here. So keep an eye on the battery sort of thing. Charge it up when I need to, but it does do away from this pull starter here, which essentially does the same thing. It sort of locks on to your hub just here. Then when you pull it, pull starts. So nice, easy, painless, especially if you've got a generator that you don't use very often as well. It takes a lot of pulling and yelling and screaming to get it started. Chuck a drill on her, you just keep cranking and cranking until you need to go. But you know, it's always recommended to run your generators periodically, even if you're not using them, because your petrol will turn a varnish and start clogging shit. But as I said, I run mine. I also use a fuel stabilizer, which is what was it, Dr. Fuel or something like that? I don't know. I'll let you know in the middle of the video what I use. It's the green stuff. Add it in there. It seems to be doing quite well. And then yeah, but as you can see, my starting watt's a 3500. My setup at home here, my idle power is basically 0.5 kilowatt hours. Peak power is probably 3.5 to 4 kilowatt, depending on what I'm using. But that's my standby power plus microwave, oven, and stovetop all at the same time as well. So obviously in a grid down situation or a blackout, you're not going to be stupid and use everything at once. But yeah, my recommendation probably would be go to diesel generator, which is what I'm aiming for. Mainly because the fuel lasts longer when not in use. It's a bit more stable and from what I've read, a bit more efficient really. But I might be dropping down the starting watts a little bit because essentially, as I said, my standby power is 0.5 of a kilowatt. So and my peak's around that 3.5. So basically I need something around 3.5, and I have tested the entire house on this generator. And yeah, I don't know what more else I can say really. Hopefully this has given you a little bit of insight. I mean, we can go into depth, but you know, you don't want to be sitting here listening to me for an hour and talk about power usage and generators and shit, but it's a good starting point to see how a basic house generator runs. Hopefully this has been helpful, eh?